Hi folks, I'm excited to be joined by our team to kick off this new episode of Windows in the Cloud, where we will share all the newest Windows in the Cloud features just announced at Microsoft Ignite. And we'll not spoil the beans right now, so let's get started. Hi folks, I'm pumped to be starting the next episode of Windows in the Cloud. This time an Ignite special of Ignite 2024. And I'm joined by our team that will explain all the new features that we just announced. Before we do so, please follow us on Windows IT Pro and on our YouTube channel as well to stay up to date about all the latest news about Windows in the Cloud. So with that, hi Scott, great to have you back.
Thanks, Christian. What an exciting time to be back here to get to share some of the exciting announcements that we're making here at Ignite 2024.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. A new chapter of our Windows in the Cloud services, and great to have you back to introduce all these new features, as well as the team members as a part of our team that own kind of those sections as well as part of these announcements. So can you give a quick heads up on, hey, what are these new announcements during Microsoft Ignite?
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully folks have had a chance to tune into some of the keynotes and other announcements and heard from some of our senior leaders at Microsoft about all the exciting innovations of our Windows Cloud offerings. As you can see here, we've got a ton of new features coming for Windows 365. Many of these have already been featured. Many more will be featured in breakout sessions and general sessions as well. We've categorized our offerings across these three critical areas for our customers. Security is obviously a very fundamental aspect of all of our offerings, but is a traditional driver for using virtualization solutions like Windows 365 and AVD. We continue to innovate in this area, providing not only higher secure solutions, but also great user experiences. Things like passwordless auth, leveraging passkey and other technologies provide single sign-on and simple sign-on experiences for our customers, and integrating with the entire M365 security suite as well as Purview. We've done a ton of innovation in this area and lots to talk about. Some of the new things that I'm super excited about, I think that really define great end user experiences and holding that very high security bar, is our new mobile application management and the ability to set conditional controls, the ability to do posture check and evaluate if the device meets all of your corporate requirements, and rather than just simply an on or off switch, to allow conditional access policies to be applied and still allow that user to get access to their corporate resources. So lots more capabilities that we're exposing in that security column here. But Windows 365 is about a very simple and secure and easy to set up IT admin experience, but it really redefines the end user experiences for traditional virtualization experiences and creates experiences that are more consistent with the physical world. So in that column, we've got obviously a lot of excitement around the new Windows app that unifies all of our Windows Cloud services into a single app for each platform. Lots of great end user experiences there and lots of admin controls as well. We're super excited to continue to support a wide variety of endpoint devices. We support all the major devices, but there's a ton of innovation happening internally within Microsoft with the new Windows 365 Link device, and also through our partners building bespoke solutions for many different platforms. We're making a lot of investments in our protocol, both in terms of faster login times, more reliability, with some technologies that now enable multi-path connections. So if there's any kind of a glitch anywhere in the network connection, we can recover from those things faster. And in most cases, the user doesn't even feel the experience. And on the service side, wow, what an amazing set of innovation that we've pulled together here. And excited for the team to drill into this a bit more. But Frontline Shared has been a very commonly requested scenario for us to bring those experiences or more of a concurrent kind of usage model supported within the Windows 365 solution. And as we all know, BCDR is another driver for most customers to look at virtualization. And we've built one of the most secure and robust solutions with Windows 365. And we continue to extend those capabilities, now supporting an add-on option to do cross-region disaster recovery. So super excited for the team to share more details about that. And we continue to listen to our customers about the different configurations that they want to have access to with Windows 365. Last year, we announced the GPU SKUs and the 16 core SKUs were coming. Those are now hitting GA, and we're seeing some really amazing scenarios where customers are taking advantage of these GPU SKUs hosted in the cloud with a super high-speed backplane network and unlocking incredible new scenarios. And I mentioned protocol improvements. We're super excited to embrace some of the new encoding and decoding technologies like HEVC and supporting 4K 60 resolution with the latest generations of RDP.
I really want to acknowledge a couple things here as well. We just got named again as a leader by Gartner, and we showed Gartner some of these highlights you just showed as well. And now we are finally able to share it with the outside world. So super excited. And especially that Windows 365 Link device, us going into the hardware space, we shot an extra bonus episode as well that you can find in the link below here to double click on, hey, what is exactly that device? How does it work? How many ports does it have? And as well, how is the boot to cloud experience transforming to a purpose-built device experience as well? And with that, let's jump in Azure Virtual Desktop as well.
Yeah, so again, one of the things I'm really proud of in how we've created these Windows Cloud offerings is we share a common platform. Azure Virtual Desktop powers the Azure Virtual Desktop service, but it's also the underlying virtualization infrastructure that supports Windows 365. This gives us, as the product team, a lot of opportunity to make investments in the core platform that then show up in both services. So when you look at the list of security capabilities here, you'll notice almost all of them are consistent between Windows 365 and AVD, and that's very intentional. And by now building this new unified Windows app, now we can bring the best of both AVD and Windows 365 together in a single client. Coming soon, that Windows app will start to bring in other services like remote desktop services and remote desktop as well. So we're very excited by that innovation. We mentioned earlier the multi-path RDP technology. We're already seeing really amazing results from customers that have been on the preview of this and seeing how it significantly drops, disconnects, and makes a more robust and reliable connection for their customers. Getting into the service side on AVD, tons of innovation and happening here. Lots of things to make it easier to manage AVD at scale. Being able to now manage your session host pools in place without having to rebuild a host pool each time. And also recognizing that our customers often use a variety of different app packaging technologies. And to create a more optimized virtualization environment, they tend to want to shrink down the number of unique host pools. By allowing you to leverage a variety of different dynamic app and different app packaging technologies, you can streamline your AVD deployments, reducing the number of unique host pools you have and create a really amazing end user experience. And of course, we're continuing to extend the reach of AVD on-prem and through some of our partners. And we're super excited for all of the innovation happening around Azure Local now. Out of Azure Stack HCI, as you probably heard at the show, it's been renamed to Azure Local. So I'm really excited for the rest of the team members to walk through these in more detail, and hopefully you'll be as excited as I am about all these amazing announcements.
Hey, thanks, Scott, for being here as well, and as always, delivering an exciting intro to this episode.
It's hard not to get excited about this stuff.
So before we jump into Azure Virtual Desktop, let's take a look at Windows 365 Link as well.
It's the first cloud PC device that's purpose-built to connect you directly to Windows 365. Enables you to work securely in that familiar Windows desktop with a responsive, high-fidelity experience that you expect.
And now off to our amazing management improvements and more as well. So Tristan, great to have you again on the show. Can you explain a little bit what you do as part of the team?
Yeah, I basically lead the team that does all of our IT experiences. So I want to show you a few highlights that we're going to be showing at Ignite.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about those demos you prepared too. So let's just get them rolling.
Well, that's great because that's all I have is demos. I don't have any slides, and I thought that'd be the easiest thing to show you is a few features, just by showing you what they look like in the management consoles. So the first thing I want to talk about is this thing Scott mentioned called Frontline Shared Mode. And so I'm going to start by just kind of showing you within the provisioning policy. This is going to look very familiar in the Intune console. You're going to provision your Cloud PC. If you recall, when we first launched Windows 365, we had this thing called an enterprise license. And this is a one-to-one machine. One user gets one Cloud PC. They can use it whenever they want. And then last year, we launched this thing called a frontline license. And in this case, with one license, you can get 3 Cloud PCs, again, personalizable for 3 users, but only one of those users can connect to those Cloud PCs at a time. So if you have a shift worker scenario, where you have 10 of these licenses. You can provision 30 Cloud PCs, but only 10 can be connected at any given time. So think of the 8-hour shift being spread across those 30 users. Now, if I keep progressing in the provisioning policy here, you'll see there's a new sub option under Frontline. There's Frontline Dedicated Mode. That's the thing we launched last year, the thing that's optimized for those shift worker scenarios. And then we have this new option here called Shared Mode. This is really optimized for task scenarios. So it also uses the same license. You get one Frontline license. And in this case, you can have many users connect to these shared Cloud PCs, not limited to just 3. In this case, think of the task work scenarios where you have, like 10 minutes in and out throughout the day. So if you had 10 of these licenses, you potentially have 100 users that connect throughout the day. Pop in, pop out. Another kind of differentiating feature of this is that there's a standard reset that happens every time the user logs out. So the user is guaranteed to get the exact same experience every time they log into their shared Cloud PC. So let me kind of keep going through the provisioning flow. It's going to look pretty familiar after this. Of course, if you want to provision these shared Cloud PCs, you click the shared option. You have the same options for identity, geography, do single sign-on. You select your gallery image. We, of course, have our pre-canned images here. Okay, now here in the configuration, you have your standard option for selecting language and region, but I want to highlight this new feature we've added called the Windows Autopilot Device Preparation Profile. This is really important for these shared Cloud PCs because, like I said, these get reset after every time the user logs off, and you want the exact same set of experiences when the next user goes and logs into that shared Cloud PC. So this guarantees that the apps you need to be there for the user are pre-installed and ready to go before the user logs in. And this is all using Intune App Management. So it really helps you as you're trying to reduce your dependency on gallery, custom images, meaning you can rely on our gallery images and use Intune App Management to deliver these apps. And then there's some additional options about how long to wait, before you let the user log in, if there's a timeout, things like this.
So Tristan, one quick thing to highlight here is like if you're coming from virtualization, VDI, and you have been doing image management, and one of the main reasons why you did that was to get your agents, antivirus applications in the image before the actual user logs on. This is a great feature to help with that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for those cases, there's some cases where the apps, you don't mind if they come down after the user logs in. Yeah, exactly. Security agents, mission critical apps, those have to be there when the user logs in.
So you're saying that we can get rid of golden image management now completely?
I mean, there's less and less excuses for those all the time. We've got those gallery images ready to go, and then use Intune to layer on anything extra you need. Totally.
It's awesome.
So just completing the flow here, you assign the users that'll have access to this shared Cloud PCs. In this case, we'll select retail staff. And then for the assignments, I'm going to pause right here and see within this group of users, the retail staff, there's 100 members within this group. And then I have these 2 of these CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, Frontline licenses available. And so this means I have 25 of these licenses that I can use for these retail staff users. So I'm going to select that option. I'm going to give it a name. This is useful for the users to know when they're going to log into their Cloud PC. And then I can pick how many of those 25 licenses do I actually want to provision. So in this case, I'm going to say I'm going to provision 20 of the 25 licenses. That means there's going to be 20 shared Cloud PCs out there. And again, you can have 200 or more users that are able to now log in and share these 20 Cloud PCs as much as they want throughout the day. The only constraint is you can't have more than 20 concurrently connected to these Cloud PCs. Okay, and then you click create and you're done. And just like, the rest of the Cloud PC experience, within an hour, this thing is going to be ready for these users to start accessing.
This is great, Tristan. And the next one is really cool as well. Like updating images as part of host pool management, right? We did some improvements there. Can you walk us through what you prepared here?
Yeah, this is switching gears to AVD. So now we're in the Azure console. And I'm going to show you this. It's a pretty quick demo. It's very powerful. If you think about what you need to do today to manage the session hosts in your host pool, there's a lot of individual session host configuration creation. I'm going to show you how you can do this all kind of in a template-like format, which makes deploying so much easier and potentially even more valuable, updating all the session hosts with uniform configuration that much easier. Okay, so what you see here is our standard AVD host pool creation flow. Here you can see there's a new option for a pooled host pool where you can select an option to create a session host configuration. So we'll select yes here. And then as you configure on here, this is going to look very familiar. You're going to have a bunch of choices for what you want your session hosts configuration to look like. You're going to pick the location, the availability zones, the image to use, the type of disk, the region. All of these choices are the choices you're used to doing for configuring your session host. But now we're going to save this in a template, a session host configuration is what we call it. Okay, so now you can see I have a saved session host configuration called HPU test 01. That has all of those choices I made about the session host, which I can uniformly apply across my entire host pool really easily. So now if I go into edit this, I can easily say, I want to update all of the session hosts in my host pool. So for example, the really common use case here is, say I have a new base image, I have thousands of session hosts. I say, do this one, roll it out. You have some options on how to do that gracefully. And then, that's just taken care of. You don't need to go check each of your session hosts. We facilitate this for you.
This is great, Tristan. And as well, it shows the options you have as a customer. Azure Virtual Desktop with host pool management being simple now, as well as Frontline Shared, where you can do it with Windows 365 with the new Autopilot device prep integration options. So it's great to see that. So we're doing something on the app attach side as well. So what have you in store there?
Yeah, you're right that there's a theme across these demos. We're really just trying to unlock scenarios for our customers and make things easier and easier to do across these products. So it's more of the same that the last one I showed you with the session host management, how much easier it was to roll out updated images. Now this is getting into the world of app attach, where you're familiar with MSIX app attach. Like Scott mentioned, we have a bunch of third parties that are now integrating an app attach. You can use the same model there. And what I wanted to show you here is AppV is now supported with app attach. Here, the flow is creating a new app attach, just like you normally would. Everything looks exactly the same as what you're used to. You select the storage account where your file is stored. This is really the only difference. You see the AppV package is the thing I'm selecting right here. This is now newly supported because a lot of our customers have a existing catalog of AppV packages. You can bring them right into AVD, have them real-time attached. You select the users you want to have access to that AppV package. And then now the great part of app attach is here available for the users. Real-time, that package is going to be attached, available to that user, whether you're using remote app or full desktop. And they're going to be able to launch and use that app just like any other natively installed app. This is not using an AppV server. It's using the AVD app attach technology. So it's all consistent and easy to manage.
So great demos from Tristan, but I'm also very excited about end user experience because that's really as well like the front end of our service for end users. And great to have you back, Phil, here as well. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good to be here, Christian. Thanks for having me. I lead our product management team for end user experiences across Windows 365 and AVD.
And I know you prepared some great demos with our team, and I see you have a great slide up here talking about the different layers of the stack. Can you double click on that?
Yeah, sure. So this is just illustrating, the unique position that Microsoft is in and our ability and our capabilities to invest in many different layers of the end user experience. So what this slide is showing is that we have a streaming stack with remote desktop protocol. That's a big part of how we deliver interactive remoting experiences to end users. We're obviously investing a lot in the infrastructure and the services themselves to build and deliver Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop. A lot of times people hear about the Windows app and the clients that are part of those services, but there's much more. We also go down into Windows itself. We make changes to Windows to improve things like SSO, and actually the speed to log into the remote sessions. We make changes in the systems that underlie Windows. So things like investments in codecs to be able to deliver high quality, low compressed streams to the users. And then we're making investments in silicon, both on cloud and client side. So this unique ability to invest across all of these things really brings a lot of value to our end user experiences.
Yeah, this is great. And I know we prepared a demo for like improvements we do on that streaming side you just highlighted. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'll share with you a demo on remote desktop protocol multipath. And what we see in this demo is the manifestation of a whole lot of work that we've put in to essentially make it really fast to reconnect if you have a network interruption. So on the left-hand side of this demo, what you see is what happens without the multipath work. I've got two network adapters, and you can see that I'm running through Ethernet 4 here. If I just turn that off, you can see that my network bandwidth goes to 0, and I'm going to get a reconnection prompt pretty soon. Even though that other network connection was running, the service has to go find that path and reconnect to it and bring back my session. And that takes 53 seconds in this demo. So it's a slower experience than we would want. And with the investments that we've made in multipath, what you see on the right-hand side demo is a very different experience. So we turn off that same network adapter. You can see the network's running, and immediately, within less than a second, it has flipped over to Ethernet 5. There was no interruption to the user's experience. And that's due to the investments that we're making across TCP and UDP, multiple paths at the same time to make sure that users never have a connection drop that's really perceptible to them.
Yeah, that's so cool because you never know what happens. Could be like you connected to Wi-Fi, or you're like moving from your Wi-Fi to cellular, and it could always like create a little bit of an interruption. And this definitely increases the end user experience to feel consistent to your Windows session in the cloud. So really, really awesome here. You have another demo on like improvements on the streaming protocol side. What's that about?
I do, yeah. So here we're looking at it's a Windows 365 GPU-enabled Cloud PC. And so the user is going to connect to this Cloud PC, and through the new HEVC or H.265 codec that we put into all of our GPU SKUs, you can actually use that GPU to render a 4K 60 video, come back to it and watch the entire thing all in 4K 60. So once that user logs into that session, what you're going to see is that here they are in Blender, and they're selecting 60 frames a second, 3840 pixels, and they're going to get the ability to render this video at 4K 60. So the user can go away, get a coffee, come back once that job is finished, and watch that back in full fidelity at 4K 60 frames a second.
Thanks, Phil. Great stuff here. And let's move now to security, because security is top of mind in Microsoft. And I'm very excited about all these new security announcements. So, Bhavya, great to have you back as well. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Christian. It's great to be back. Hi, everyone. I'm Bhavya. I'm a group product manager and responsible for the security and resiliency areas for both our solutions, Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365.
Here, it's great to have you back. And you have prepared some demos as well, some slides around the vision of security as part of Windows in the cloud. Can you start with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's actually start with security first. As you heard from Scott earlier in our video, security is fundamental and foundational to both our products. It's built on the Zero Trust Foundation. And for us, we actually look at it in two parts. So let's actually divide this slide for you. Let's talk about our secure platform, which is the bottom part of the slide. For us, we make sure that our platform infrastructure and operations are secure by design, which means security is integral to the way we design and build our products. We scan for vulnerabilities. We want to make sure we vet our designs, and we ensure that there's a right access controls from our Microsoft engineers to the infrastructure that we built for you. In terms of securing your users and helping you do that, we actually look at 3 areas in the way we build our capabilities. So we talk about secure identity to make sure that you're using secure passwordless auth when you're accessing these Cloud PCs and AVD session hosts securely, and making sure that the data that is on these VMs are actually also kept protected. And so when you see our next slide, you're going to see the capabilities that we provide against each of these areas. So let's talk about the capabilities in each of these areas. We're talking about secure identities, secure access, and secure data. And of course, our solutions are always secure by default. So you as security admins do not have to worry about mistaking on a configuration. You don't want to miss it. You want to make sure that the provisioned VMs that you're providing to your users, either on AVD or on Windows 365, are secure by default. So capabilities that we provide for that, we have trusted launch VMs that we use by default on Windows 365. We also have the ability for you to configure confidential VMs in Azure Virtual Desktop. There is Credential Guard and HVCI that we enable by default for all our customers. Our port 3389, which is the inbound port, is actually disabled because the way we establish connectivity is using reverse connect, which is also secure by default. It doesn't require inbound connectivity. And there are certain redirections that are sort of key to the data that is on your VM. Clipboard, drive, USB, printer are all the ways by which data can get out of your VM, and they start by being disabled by default, which is something that we're working on and will be bringing in soon to our solutions. In terms of secure identity, Scott covered this earlier. There's a lot that we're doing in this space to make sure that you do not have to use password-based authentication anymore. There's a lot of industry trends on using passkey, FIDO2, smart card, anything that doesn't require you to actually type in your password, which could get leaked very easily. So there's a lot of effort and innovation that we've put in here to make sure that passwordless authentication works end to end on our platform, whether that is logging into our service, whether that's logging into the VM, or whether that's logging into the apps that are inside the session. We're making sure passwordless auth is enabled across all 3 parts. And of course, with single sign-on, you get that today on all OS platforms. The one thing that I also want to call out are the 2 things in the bottom that are actually something that we're working on very hard on and has been asked for by our customers quite a bit. One is support for external identities. Yes, you will soon be able to get secure collaboration working with your partners or even in multi-tenant organizations. We're actually in private preview already, and we would love for you to be able to sign up for that private preview through the CCP channel. Looking forward to seeing you on that, but we do have support going on B2B identities. And then Imprivata, shared kiosk for support on Windows, is coming soon. For all our healthcare customers, Imprivata has been something that you've worked on the IGIL endpoints, and that's going to be soon enabled on Windows as well. Hopefully you'll hear that after Ignite. Secure access. Scott explained this earlier. It's very important for us to make sure that when your Cloud PCs or AVD session hosts are being accessed by unmanaged devices or devices that are managed by a different tenant, that you're able to do a device posture check on it. And then you're able to also control what data can go in and out based on the different device postures that are being used to access your VMs. So with MAM, we make that possible. It's already available on iOS. It's in preview on Android, and we're working on the Windows roadmap for it too. The other thing is about the ecosystem play. We integrate with Entra Global Secure Access, Defender for Endpoint, Purview DLP, and all of that is already available today on Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop. And then when we look at about securing the customer data that's inside the VMs, we talked about confidential and trusted launch VMs before, but integrating with Purview DLP, having screen capture and watermarking available on all OS platforms, and the more importantly, that was recently GA'd, we launched the ability to be able to control the direction and type of data on the clipboard. So with unidirectional clipboard, now you can control whether the data can be copied in or out of the VM, as well as the type of data that could be copied in and out of the VM. That could be text, images, files, etc. So we're very much looking forward to you being able to try those capabilities and in deploying that in your solutions to secure your users. So now let's actually see the demo of unidirectional clipboard in action. What you see on the left-hand side is how an admin can configure the direction and the type of data that they're allowed. So what you see on the screen is we're restricting you being able to copy from the client to the cloud, but we're allowing plain text only from the cloud to local. On the right-hand side, let's actually see the end user demo in action. Let me roll the video that is now enhanced by the AI voiceover.
In this one-way clipboard demo, we will copy the text from the Cloud PC or AVD VM running in the web on the left to the Notepad application running on the local client device on the right. Clipboard settings have been enabled to allow transfers in this direction. Success! Now we will attempt to copy the new text from the local device Notepad application on the right back into the same Cloud PC or AVD VM on the left. Clipboard settings have been configured to disable transfers in this direction.
And just like security, resiliency, the stability of our service is top of mind for us as a team. And you and the team prepared so much greatness to come as well as available today. So what's the first one you want to highlight here on this list?
Yes, Krishan, as you pointed out, resiliency and reliability is sort of fundamental to our services, just like security is. Let's actually talk about the service resiliency that you're currently seeing on the screen. Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop actually use a common connectivity platform underneath. So what you're seeing is we have instances deployed all over the world to provide you connectivity to your virtual machines. We make sure that each instance is actually made up of 6 independent instances. So in the event of a failure, another independent instance could actually take over and still provide you connectivity. And we make sure that we use Azure Resilience services like Azure Front Door and Azure Traffic Manager that actually direct users to the closest gateway connection. So we can ensure that there's the lowest latency connection that's provided to our users. Now, Windows 365 actually also has a management platform on top of the connectivity platform that I just talked about. And that's also built with resiliency in mind. It has global scale. It's actually deployed in multiple geos where we provide region resiliency, the cross-region resiliency, as well as it's distributed within availability zones that are in a region. So you have within region resiliency along with the cross-region resiliency. It's also built on very Azure resilient services. It has global redundant storage in place, and we use services like Cosmos DB to do our metadata storage that's actually replicated across multiple regions to provide data resilience. Now we've looked at the service resiliency. Let's look at the Cloud PC resiliency, the actual VM resiliency. Windows 365 actually provides built-in functionality with features like point-in-time restore that provide multi-level hardware resilience, provides resilience against outages that you could have because of malware, or you could have system-level outages. There could be a bug in the OS. And the zone could be down. So we provide point-in-time restore functionality that's actually built into our Windows 365 product, where you could have a Cloud PC go back in time. And you, as an admin, can also configure multiple restore points. We have about 14 options for you to be able to go back in time. And then recently, we actually launched the cross-region disaster recovery solution. It's an add-on license, but it lets you have a snapshot of your Cloud PC in an area that is geographically distant to where your primary Cloud PC is. So you can actually configure your snapshot of your Cloud PC to be copied over to a region or a different geo that is separate from your primary Cloud PC. And the event of a disaster, you're able to use the snapshot that was in the other region to then have a Cloud PC ready to go, minimizing the recovery time that you would have in case of an outage. Now let's actually see a demo of cross-region disaster recovery in action. So Windows 365 cross-region disaster recovery actually allows admin to configure a copy of any Cloud PC to occur in a region or geography that is distant from the primary Cloud PC. And it's very easy to configure. In a few minutes, you're able to set that up for all your Cloud PCs. So to configure, you first go to Devices. You select the Windows 365 blade, and in the user setting, it could be an existing one or a new one. And this one, I'll pick the existing one. You can select the cross disaster recovery accordion. So we expand that, and that's where you enable the setting. Over here, you can also choose the network type and the geography or region that you want us to select as the alternate region. Once done, You can assign user groups. And that's where in this screen, you can do that. You can assign user groups. And in this case, the Windows 365 will automatically create a snapshot in the alternate geography for you. In the event of a disaster, you need to activate the cross-region disaster recovery. So in this case, you go to all devices, you select bulk device actions, and here you can activate or deactivate the cross-region disaster recovery by selecting that in the bulk action menu, like you see happening on the screen right now. If you select activate, you can go into device selection where you have the option to select individual devices or a device group. In this case, I'm going to select individual devices. And the only devices that you see on this screen to be able to select are the ones that are active and have enabled the cross-region disaster recovery solution. In this case, I select and I will execute the command. And once this is complete, the cross-region GR will be activated on that Cloud PC, and the end user can use the Cloud PC in an alternate region while their primary one wasn't available due to a region outage. So I'm very excited about all of the capabilities that I was able to demo and showcase for you on security and resiliency. Hope you enjoyed the rest of Ignite.
Hey, this was great, Bhavya. Very nice to see the focus on security. So let's wrap this episode up, and definitely want to have you all back at some point to double click on all these announcements and what's coming next beyond that. Bhavya, how can people stay in touch with you?
You can see me at Ignite and follow me on LinkedIn.
It's amazing. And Scott, how can people stay in touch with you?
Same thing. If you're watching this and you're at Ignite, come find me. Otherwise, look me up on LinkedIn. It's Scott Manchester.
Phil, how can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah, come find me on LinkedIn. It's at Phil Garrity.
And last, definitely not least, Tristan, how can people stay in touch with you?
Same. Find me on LinkedIn, Tristan Scott.
Yeah, thanks again for being here. For some of you, second time. For some of you, more times even too, but definitely not the last time. And thank you for watching. And please check aka.ms/Windows in the Cloud for all the latest news, as well as check on-demand episodes we shot previously and one upcoming episode about the Windows 365 link. Thanks for watching.